everyone, Jean Kanicki here. Welcome. Today our topic of discussion is going to be about love. There are three main components to love, and that is intimacy, passion, and decision. Intimacy is the closeness that each partner feels to the other and the strength of the bond that binds them together. Partners high in intimacy like value and understand their partners. Now, passion is based on romantic feelings, physical attraction, and sexual intimacy with your partner. Now, the third component is commitment. Commitment represents cognitive factors such as acknowledging that you're in love and committed to maintaining the relationship. Let's delve a little deeper into these three components. Intimacy is feelings of closeness, connectedness, and bondedness in a loving relationship, including those feelings that give rise essentially to the experience of warmth in a loving relationship, but not exclusively deriving from emotional investment in the relationship. The intimacy component of love typically remains stable over time and is somewhat able to be controlled. People's awareness of it tends to fluctuate, meaning that sometimes people are aware of these types of feelings towards each other, but sometimes they're not aware that they're experiencing intimate feelings. The intimacy component plays a medium role in short-term relationships, but plays a larger role in long-term relationships. This component of love always tends to cause a moderate physiological response in people. Now, let's look at passion. The passion component of love, the drives that lead to romance, physical attraction, and sexual consummation. Also, related phenomena in loving relationships. This includes those sources of motivational and other forms of arousal that lead to the experience of passion in a loving relationship. And it's largely, although exclusively, derived from motivational involvement in the relationship. Aspects of the passion component of love are usually unstable and often change. People are usually not able to control whether or not these feelings are present in a relationship. But still, they tend to be aware of whether or not they are experiencing these types of feelings towards someone. The passion component of love tends to have a large role in short-term relationships and only a medium role in long-term relationships. This component tends to cause a high physiological response in people. This physiological response tends to be more short-term, as our bodies cannot sustain a heightened physiological state for any extended period of time. Now, let's look at the commitment part of this equation. Commitment in the short term, the decision that one loves someone else, and in the long term, the commitment to maintain that love. Commitment includes the cognitive elements that are involved in decision making about the existence and potential long-term commitment to a loving relationship. Although not exclusively, from cognitive decision in and commitment to the relationship. Like the intimacy component of love, the decision or commitment component also typically remains stable over time. And people's awareness of it to fluctuate throughout time. However, the decision and commitment component of love is more easily controlled than the intimacy component. The commitment component tends to play a very small part in any part, in short-term relationships and large part in a long-term relationship. This makes sense, as it would be difficult to continue a relationship for a significant period of time without some sort of subconscious commitment to the person and the relationship overall. These three components are fundamental to what love is and interact in different ways to create 8 types of love, which is what we're going to explore next. So don't go anywhere, stick around. Relationships can become unbalanced if there is too great an investment in one component rather than the others, such as romantic love or compassionate love. Love is achieved when all 3 components are achieved. So let's look at the first type of love. The first type of love is non-love, which is when none of the 3 components of love are present in a relationship. This can be seen as casual interactions in our everyday lives, and actually characterizes the large majority of our personal relationships. These relationships and interactions contain a complete lack of love, as none of the components of love are involved. Now, this makes sense, as people would not typically express any sort of feelings of love for any brief encounter in their lives. Let's look at the second type of love, which is sort of a friendship type of liking, which is when intimacy component of love is present in a relationship, but the passion and commitment components are missing. This involves closeness, bondedness, and warmth towards each other, without feelings of intense passion or long-term commitment. Liking can be seen in a relationship in our lives as we refer to as friendships. Now, as we all know, friendships can exist at different levels. If any other components of love are present in a friendship, then it is not considered liking, but is considered a different kind of love. Friendships that lack the passion and commitment components of love are considered to be the kind of love labeled as liking. So let's look at the third type of love. This is infatuation. Infatuation is when passion component of love is present in a relationship, but the intimacy and commitment components are not. Fatuous love is a type of love that combines passion, which is physical and romantic attraction, and commitment, but lacks intimacy, which is the deep connection and understanding. This type of love is often characterized by a whirlwind romance driven by passion, but lacking true depth. Sometimes you hear people say, "Oh, it was love at first sight." That's the type of love that's in the category of love. This involves a high degree of physiological arousal, which is manifested in some somatic symptoms such as increased heartbeat or even palpitations of the heart, increased hormonal secretions, erections of the genitals, and so on. This type of love develops very quickly, without time for any intimacy feelings to grow or for a commitment to be made. So let's delve into the fourth type of love, which is when the commitment component of love is present in a relationship, but the intimacy and passion components are missing. Now, this type of love can commonly be found in some long-term relationships where the couples have lost feelings for one another. In our society, we are most accustomed to empty love as it occurs as a final or near final stage of a long-term relationship. But in other societies, empty love may be the first stage of a long-term relationship, such as an arranged marriage. Now, the fifth type of love is romantic love, which is when the intimacy and passion components of love are present in a relationship, but the commitment component is not there. This kind of love can also be thought of as liking with an added element, namely the arousal brought about by physical attraction and its non-committance. One good example of this kind of love is the love that you read about between Romeo and Juliet, where the couple share both intimate and passionate feelings towards one another, but have no real commitment to one another. Romantic love can also be found towards the beginning of some long-term relationships, before the involved parties have committed to a long-term relationship with one another. The sixth type of love is compassionate love. Compassionate love is when the intimacy and commitment components of love are present in a relationship, but the passion component is not there. The ideal form of love that combines the three components are intimacy, passion, and commitment. This type of love is described as a long-term committed friendship, the kind that frequently occurs in marriages in which physical attraction has died down. This brings us to the end. Now, the three components of love are intimacy, passion, and commitment. These three components of love combined to create 8 kinds of love, which is non-love, liking, infatuated love, empty love, romantic love, compassionate love, fatuous love, and consummate love. Thank you for watching. I hope this was informational, and all the best to you looking for love.